Hi, I'm Suzanne Henriksen, a researcher and storyteller by trade and a world explorer, drink local enthusiast by heart. I'm traveling the world to celebrate and share the people, the process, the stories, and the innovations behind craft alcohol, and I can't wait to share our amazing finds with all of you. So let's get drinking, Crafty Cask style. Come on in.
So Vara is all about the Spanish-American experience. The word Vara means cane, rock, and it represents the Spanish commitment to the pueblos in New Mexico of sovereignty. So the Spanish king gave each of the pueblos a cane of sovereignty. Then in 1863, President Lincoln gave a cane of sovereignty to the pueblos as well. So they have these two Varas and they're sacred items in the Pueblo culture that represent sovereignty. And so everything of Vara is about the Spanish, New Mexican, American influence in this region. Okay. So we select some very special wines from Spain. We also produce wines here in New Mexico. We produce wines in California. Winemaker is Robert Lundquist. Coupe was his company, Central Coast. And so some of the wines that we have are Central Coast U.S., some are New Mexico, some are Spanish. So between Bob and Rock, with years of experience, and me, the guy who started in this garage, that was 7 years ago, I'm responsible for the spirits part of it. On all of the Vara products, we've got, of course, the Crown and Star. That's our trademark, is the Crown and Star. If it's got a highlighted crown, this is a Spanish product. If it's got a star, it's an American product.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So the Paso Uno, first pass, or one pass, and this is basically what the Spanish would refer to as an Holandas brandy. So it's an immature brandy. And back in the day in Spain, it was when the Moors conquered Spain, they said, you can't have wine, wine's bad. But we'll bring our alembic stills over and you can make spirits and we'll call it medicine. And so the Spanish started turning wine into brandy. And after the Moors left, they found that their biggest export was to Holland, and it was this immature brandy. And it's basically done first pass on an alembic still, and it is done from New Mexico grapes. So it's New Mexican Chenin Blanc, Malvasia. There's actually some Zinfandel. So different wines go into the pot when we distill it. So not meant to really be a sipper, but should have some of those grape characteristics. And just something as a mixer, in the place of a vodka, but with just a little bit more of a flavor profile. So rum is what I started with as a distiller. So this is
That's not common, I don't think, because working with molasses and sugarcane and sugar is kind of difficult.
It is difficult.
Yeah.
It is difficult to source, but it is also much easier to ferment.
That's a lovely white rum. I'm a really big fan of white rums that have enough character and kind of personality that you actually can sip them.
It's rum.
Yeah.
It's rum.
Yeah.
This isn't designed as a sipper, and it goes extremely well. It was designed to go into rum cocktails, but still have rum characteristics.
Yeah.
I wanted to express that molasses characteristic in the spirit, and so many of the white rums you buy now are so very similar to vodka.
Yeah.
And that's something I want.
Yeah. Very nice.
Our gin is a very unique gin. It is a Mediterranean profile, so a little bit more citrus, but we've also got some sage in there, and we call it a high desert gin. It's done on a great base spirit, so it is not a grain based, but we bottle at 88 proof.
Yeah, there is something unique going on there.
It's not your London dry. It's not a kicky in the teeth. More of an Old Tom style, but with that Mediterranean flair, and then that sage adds a little bit to it.
Yeah, that little touch of sweetness and the citrus, like lots of layers of citrus going on there.
And a lot of people pick up there's also star anise, so a lot of people will pick that up as well. But this is an alembic brandy out of Spain, aged for a minimum of 3 years as a reserva. It's a Solera. And we're starting a Solera program here, so we're using some of this along with our own products. We're doing a rum Solera, so we're doing some really cool stuff with Solera. And this is basically the product that I perfected the aging with. So this is done with a dark molasses, otherwise known as medium or refiner syrup. And so when we source this stuff, we have to get it in ridiculous truckload quantities.
Sure.
So we make quite a bit of it. But fortunately, it's doing well. This took Judges Select Medal at the Texan. So
I have a question. I'm confused on timelines maybe. So you perfected the aging process with the rum, but you started Taylor Garrett for whiskey.
Well, yes.
Right?
Yeah. So this is garage work. Right,
okay.
And so
technically under Taylor Garrett.
Correct. Yeah. So I developed this, earlier, and then when I came into Vara with the idea of I was going to do a standalone Taylor Garrett, and some of the investor groups I would talk to said, "Well, you ought to go talk to these guys because they're doing this, and this."
And so it felt like it made sense to kind of have the split the whiskey.
Exactly. So when I came in, I just moved the rum over.
Gotcha. Okay.
It just made more sense.
Sure.
A couple of years ago, we had this alembic still with a line arm that went straight to this old style condenser. I thought in order to increase our productivity and to make a little bit higher quality experience, we needed to add a column. So we added the column in. So we can run this either as a straight alembic still, or we can run it through the column. And typically what we'll do is, for fermentation, for mashes, we'll heat water in the still, we'll pump it into that big tank behind you, which is just a mixing tank. It's got a couple of paddles in it. Right now we've got a bunch of dry vermouth that's going to be bottled this afternoon. And we'll pump that hot water into that and pour milled grain into it. All of our grain comes out of southern Colorado.
Okay.
So we'll pour the milled grain into it, and then we'll add it to our fermenters, which are behind you over here. Currently, we don't have any grain fermentations going on, but I basically modified toads into fermenters to put chilling coils in them. They're like beer keg chilling coils. So I put those in them. We run glycol through them and keep the whiskey mashes at the right temperature. Process to kickstart it, and then putting that into barrel and letting it select age, and then we're also doing the same with light rum. So we'll have our dark aged rum. We'll take the light rum, we'll age that just for a bit using the process, then we'll throw it into Solera and create more of an oral gold rum. We are floor to ceiling with barrels. We'll be emptying these out over the next couple of days as we do a lot of bottling. So this is mostly wine. We've got some experimental sparkling projects going on. This is all Laurent Gruet. He is working on our sparkling.
Cool.
Every once in a while he'll come in and open some of this, and we taste some stuff that's only a few months old that it's like, wow, when this is 18 months, it's going to be fun. Right, so I'm the founder of Taylor Garrett. Taylor Garrett and Vara are still separate but partner companies. You know, we definitely want the brands to be different because Taylor Garrett now is whiskey. It's the American experience. It's actually named for my two kids. I'm a pilot for American Airlines.
Oh, okay.
And so aviation is my background. Obviously, I was a Navy pilot, so aviation, speed, acceleration, and then it's named for, I was a late starter. I've got a 5 and 7-year-old. So my little girl is Brooke Taylor. She's 5, and my 7-year-old son is Tyson Garrett. So that's where Taylor Garrett comes from.
That's great.
All right, so
Beautiful bottle.
Number one is the Taylor Garrett whiskey. It's a bourbon mash, and that's about as much as I'll say about bourbon on it, because I really consider this more of an American whiskey. It's got, of course, a lot of the bourbon characteristics to it, but it is designed as a high rye mash bill. I like that kick. Not particularly sweet. So it's a 65% corn, 25% rye, and 10% malted. So a little bit higher mash bill in the rye than most, and a little bit higher on the bottle. A lot of them.
Yeah, on the nose, I definitely would have guessed this is a rye rather than a
So
bourbon. Yeah.
got a little bit higher rye. So this is basically just a swap of the corn and the rye in the mash bill. So it's a 65% rye and 10% malted rye. So
Really good. It smells a little bit like brandy to me. There's a little appley, like spice coming through from it for some reason.
I got like a real light coffee, like a light roast coffee.
on that one, I get a little bit more of the spice. I get I get an earthiness to it, which is what I really like in the rye. I like that earthy. I'd say of my favorite everydays, this is my go-to. Is I like the rye. It's got that rye spirit. The rye spirit. It's got the rye spice. It's got that earthiness to it. That's kind of what I think we're looking for in the rye. But the corn kind of offsets it kind of nicely too. So a little sweetness up front, but then you really kind of get into that earthiness of the rye.
It's not smoky, but there's that.
Well, it's a little darker. It's a little heavier toast on the wood, and so you're getting those notes.
Okay.
So as you cook oak, believe it or not, as you bake oak, its flavor profile will change, and there's very definitive temperature points at which that happens. And so you can
Toasted and charred are vastly different.
toasted and charred are two different things. That is kind of the idea of Taylor Garrett, is that because I can get to market quickly, I really want to kind of push the envelope on some new flavor profiles, and so there's some things that I've been working on and that we kind of have in the work.